Hi, and welcome to the Dyer Bear podcast. This is Amanda, and this is my podcast about knitting and crocheting and some sewing and various crafty things that I like to do here where I live, just outside Seattle on the lovely Pacific Northwestern coast of the United States. And thank you for watching my video. If you enjoy it, please like and subscribe because I'd love to see more of you. I just love to talk about knitting, and it's really nice that there might be people out there who want to listen. So, onward. I will show you, first of all, I have an FO this week, which I haven't been working on it in previous podcasts, so this might be a surprise. I think I worked on it maybe a month ago. I put it down when I picked up the So Faded cardigan, so it's been at least a month or so since I've worked on it. But I have a shawl. This is by, I'm going to take it off now so that you can see it. This is the Genesis wrap. This is by Lauren, the dyer behind Lolo Did It, and she wrote this shawl pattern as a way to use mini skein sets, which are very cool. So this is all my own hand dyed yarn. This is Dyer Bear Yarns in The Dawn Will Come, and then this green is Spring Meadow, which I might rework. I've been thinking about swapping out the purple for more blue. And this is June Bearing Strawberry, which if you saw my birthday giveaway, this is the colorway. This is a different base than I gave away, but I really like how it came out. And this is the Bees Are in the Lavender, which is one of my absolute favorite colors, with the greens and the lavender purples and the little pops of yellow. And then the stripes, showing it to you backwards of course, the stripes are in Night is Falling, which is a deep blue with purple, kind of an eggplanty purple. I really love it. It's one of my favorite colors. It actually worked up really well with all of the different colors that I paired it with. The colors just played really nicely together. I think with the Night is Falling, I don't know if I kind of like the overall color blocking of the shawl. I don't know if the green and the red next to each other are, I'm completely feeling, but I love the way the Dawn Will Come works up with a little bit of pooling, and you can see the yellows and the dark blues and then those lavenders in there. And this is my fluffy fingering base, which is really soft. It's an 80/20 merino nylon, so it's a little bit softer. Sometimes the 75/25 is a little bit rough on your hands because it's meant for durability, but the 80/20 is still very durable and very soft still. So I'm very happy with it. I really like it. I'm really glad for it to be done. It was one of those projects that I really liked working on, but I really wanted to be done at the same time. I was like, I don't want to rush through it because it's garter stitch and then just a little bit of a patterning at both sides, so it's really easy to sit and do while you're doing something else, watching TV. But I have a lot of whips and I wanted to get something off the needles. So I did. So I was pretty close to finishing it once I was finished my So Faded cardigan, and I keep saying cardigan, I mean pullover. Once I finished my So Faded sweater, I was finished this like 2 or 3 days of work later. So, and I like the way the stripes look when you have it on. I'll see if I can put this back on because it's actually kind of nice and warm. So everywhere else in the country, apparently it's pretty warm, but here on the Pacific coast, it's still pretty chilly and cool. It's about 60 degrees out today, so it's nice to have a little bit of extra, if I can get it back on. So it's my FO, which was kind of a surprise FO. My daughter loves it. My 3-year-old daughter loves it. She's decided it's her blanket, and she would not move away from it for me to take pictures of it while it was on the ground before it was blocked. So my FO pictures have a small child in them, but most of them do. Alright, so this is my FO. I will move on to my works in progress. I have a few. So I started these socks for myself. This is, I don't only knit in my yarn, but this is an experimental kind of a technique of dyeing that I was trying out, which is self-striping and kind of repeating stripes. So it's called like a palindrome stripe effect. I made these socks for myself, but I don't make that many socks and I'm not that good with gauge, so these are a little tight. They kind of fit, but they're a little tight. But I really like them. So this is the first one. But what I decided I'm going to do is, my sister's birthday is next month and her feet are smaller than mine. So I'm going to give these socks to her and I'm going to shorten them. This is the first one, which is already done, so I'm going to cut back to about here. And I'm probably just gonna tear out the toe and reknit it. I was thinking that I could cut it here and graft it back, which I could do, but I think that would probably take about as long as just reknitting the toe. So that's the first one, and here's the second one with my donut stitch mark progress keeper for her. So they will be fraternal twins, because I started a different place in the ball. I dyed up, because this was a test, I only dyed up half a skein of yarn. So I wasn't sure if I would have enough. I probably would if I like pulled it out, but when they were for me, I really didn't care. But yeah, so you can see all the color. I'm really happy with the way this yarn came out. But yeah. And then the heels and toes are in Night is Falling, which does not come up on camera at all. So also for her birthday, there's an Etsy shop, which I saw on Instagram, like you see all Etsy shops. And my sister loves hedgehogs. She lives in Portland, and she's considering getting a hedgehog baby as a pet, because you could do that in Portland. So they are sold out. She was going to go look at babies last weekend, and they sold out of the babies before she could even get there, so they won't have any more until July, so she might try again in July. But until then, I got her a hedgehog wearing a scarf from this super nice Etsy shop called the Clever Clove. It was very, very happy with them. She's actually in Vancouver, Washington, and she had a shipping deal on where if you bought 3 pins, then she would give you free shipping, I think. And I had to I think I talked about this last week. I messaged her because the code wasn't working exactly correctly, and she fixed it right away. She was very nice, and it came in this cute little pink bag, which I'm gonna put it back in to give it to her. And you know, I mentioned that I got free shipping because I had to get some pins too. These are for me. Oh yeah, you can see that a lot better. So I just could not resist this pin because it's a beautiful woman with curly hair and stars around her, and I just love that. And then this is mountains and the moon over them, and this, because I live in the Pacific Northwest, it just seemed perfect. I really like these 2 pins. I'm probably gonna, I'm debating if I want to put them on my I would like to put them on my purse, but I'm afraid that I'll lose them. They have really nice backing, so I'm not really, I don't know. I think they'll stay where I put them, but I've lost pins off my purse before, so I might put them on knitting bags. I haven't decided yet, but I love them. The Genesis wrap was designed to use up a mini skein set, so it's 100 grams of yarn, and then with the color patterning, I used up like almost all of the yarn that I had. I have this much left of Night is Falling, which was the stripe color, and then I have of the main colors. And I probably could have gotten another stripe out of the size nerves, but I had these I had done swatches for the colorways for socks, and I have this little sock toe left. So what I will do is put a couple of cotton balls in here and put catnip in here and sew it up and make cat toys, because they love yarn, and I think they will enjoy that quite a lot. And that sock is living in my 2 Sticks and You project bag with my little woodland animals on it, which I super love. It's a great size for socks. I really like the zip, actually. I'm getting used to it. So if you follow me on Instagram, I can't post the socks because my sister follows me on Instagram, but she does not watch this podcast, so I can talk about them here. My next work in progress you probably have seen on my Instagram. It is living in my birthday bag, my birthday strawberry bag from Yarn Magpie, which I love, love, love. It's a beautiful bag. It has a little tag on the outside and the contrast fabric inside with the little daisies. And it's got a nice ring inside for progress keepers, and it came with a little flower progress keeper. This nice linen bottom, so it stands upright really nicely. It's perfect for 2 skeins of yarn and a project. And last podcast I told you that I was waiting on this yarn, but I hadn't received it yet, and I did not get a chance to show it to you in the skein, which is a shame because it's gorgeous in the skein. It's gorgeous now too also. This is Nora George yarn, cashmere base, in Fleur Delacour, which is, it's got this beautiful violet purple and kind of a grassy green, and then these pops of an aqua blue with some nice white, and then beautiful speckles. It looks all, it's a bit of a tangled mess now. I posted pictures of this on Instagram when I was trying to pick a color. So I got was one of my birthday presents to myself. Was I ordered the skein because it came from England, so it's always hard to buy from the UK with the shipping extra because it adds a lot to the price of a skein of yarn. But it was from her shop update that she did last before she went on vacation, so I knew I really wanted to get something. And I just love it, and I love the cashmere. After knitting with this and the singles and the cashmere in my so faded sweater, I don't know if I can go back to knitting with just wool and nylon. I need cashmere and everything. Cashmere and everything. But, so, I had the skein sitting on my counter because I couldn't, it was too beautiful to even put away, but I hadn't wound it yet. And I would just stare at it every day and walk by, as I walked by, to try to figure out what it wanted to be, and what it wanted to go with, and I knew it was just too beautiful for socks. I love cashmere socks, but I wanted to look at this more and have it out where I could admire it more. So I was trying to figure out what it could be, what it wanted to be, and then Tommy of Squirrel Pie Productions has been knitting brioche, and she says she just absolutely loved it and she wanted everyone to try it. So she has a brioche along 2017 is the hashtag. So I was looking at different brioche patterns, and there's one that I've seen before when Joy of the Anxious Knitter is knitting a sizzle pop, which I just love the patterns of it and the way the brioche just flows. And you know, you just see these patterns flowing and growing, and it looks so organic, and it's just beautiful. So I was looking through all the different brioche patterns, and I was trying to make up my mind, and I thought I wanted another colorway to go with this, because I thought I wanted bigger than what one skein of yarn would be. I wanted a larger shawl. So I looked at, I think I looked at every brioche pattern on Ravelry. And then I came back to the sizzle pop because that's what I really wanted to knit. So, and this I thought would look gorgeous in a sizzle pop. So I had to decide what contrast color I wanted to go with, because sizzle pop has a two color brioche pattern. So at first I thought Night is Falling, which is the deep blue. From looking at the other projects, I knew that I wanted a colorway that went with all of these colors, that didn't include any of these colors really, so that you would see the contrast, because that way you get the other color on the bottom and this color on top, so that they really stand apart. Where if you have, it seems like if you, like when I was looking at this and I was originally going to match it, I was going to try to pick something with the purples or with the blues, because usually like when you do a fade, you want a colorway, like the colorways to have some colors in common and some different. So that's what I had been kind of used to looking at. But then I wanted something that, for the brioche, I wanted something that contrasted with all of these colors so that you could tell them apart easily. And I thought about Night is Falling, and it just seemed so dark. Squeaky's right here. So, and then I had a skein of Suddenly Lilac. From my So Faded. This is the skein that I used in my So Faded, because I used 5 different colors. I only used like a third of each ball, and this one like a quarter. So I put them together, and I actually unskeined this and wrapped it all around, and it looked like a snail, which I thought was really cute. And I thought they went together really well. They are very similar. They're similar-ish tones. This one's a little bit darker, but they don't share any colors in common really. There's a couple spots where some of the purples in here approach some of the deeper areas in here, but you can still tell them apart really well. But they all of the colors go together really well, I felt. So, without further ado, this is how it's knitting up, and I so love it. I love it so much. Yeah, you can see these colorways are coming up pretty well. You can see the blues and the purples and the greens and that cream and the Fleur de la Cour. And it's so soft because of the cashmere. And then the Suddenly Lilacs. I have Catherine. The Suddenly Lilacs is a shaded deep. It's very close to the lilac color. Actually, I have the lilacs that bloomed in my backyard, so I'm very happy with it. It's like a very deep pink mauve. I think it's a mauve, but it's leaning towards the pinker end of the mauves, but it's like a deep, almost rose. Not rose red, but that kind of, I don't know. I have better pictures on Instagram if you want to see more true to the color. Hello. She doesn't want to be on the podcast today, apparently. But so that's how it's knitting up. This is 3, I believe, pattern repeats. This is the little kind of setup, and then the pattern repeat is 2 flower leaf sets. They look like flowers going up or leaves going down. So it's 3, and then I have a little daisy stitch marker on it with a yellow gem, and also a mushroom, just because I really like the mushroom. It's not marking anything, it's just being decorative. Super happy with it. It's going pretty fast. I actually fixed a mistake in brioche, which if you've knitted any brioche, you know that that's not easy. I actually have been using lifelines, which I don't usually do. I have a lifeline and string mando right here, so it's green, but you can see it's down here at the kind of in the middle of the pattern repeat. And then I'm using my Chiao Goose, so I have my next lifeline and a little lifeline haul ready to go when I knit the next row. It'll run the lifeline through. But on the 2 rows down, there's so it's probably called a bark over bark. So the abbreviations in this pattern are hilarious. They call the brioche knit, it's abbreviated as BRK, so you're apparently supposed to pronounce that bark. But I kind of, especially when it's bark, oh bark, I just pronounce it bork a bork. So I dropped a bork a bork stitch right there. And I didn't really realize that until it was here. So this is actually so I had to drop down. This took me about 7 tries, and I'm not exactly sure how I did it. I'm not sure if I can do it again. It was kind of by sheer force of willpower, I think, that I got this stitch back together, and just looking at another one and trying to make the yarn all go the same way. But I did it. I don't think you can tell. So this is the one that I fixed. And this is the next one. So yeah, it's just a little bit wonky right there, and I think that'll block out. So what happened was when I was knitting it, I just shifted weirdly and dropped the yarn over. So then I had to try to pick it back up, but because you have the 2-color brioche and it's on 2 sides, it's really tricky to go back and pick stuff up. So I dropped down with a crochet hook and just finagled the yarn around until I got it back on, but I was super proud of myself. Yeah, the brioche stitch, this is my first brioche. I really like knitting it. It's a lot of fun. It's a little slow since you have to do every row twice. Sock Magician, I know, has a video on how to do 1 pass brioche knitting, which for the rest rows, because there's a pattern row, and then when you slide the yarn across and do the contrast color, you're just purling and wrapping across, and then you have a rest row. So I'm planning to at some point look up his tutorial for how to do 1 pass brioche so that I can do that on the rest rows, which I think that'll make it go. I'm not sure if it'll be faster, actually, since I think you have to switch back and forth between knitting and purling and wrapping, and so it might not be any faster, but it might be more fun, and it might make the rest rows feel faster, which is always nice. So the stitches, it's really not bad. It's mostly just knitting 2 together and yarn overs, and then keeping the colors straight and keeping the patterning straight. There is one tricky stitch, which is, so the increases are all really easy since you just knit it's just like knit into the stitch and then pull it out and do a yarn over, and then knit in and then do a yarn over as many times as you need. The decrease stitches, like here, is a little tricky. This pattern is by someone, I can't remember her name. It's Leslie I think it's Leslie something. I don't remember what her last name is. But her directions are not super clear. So she says the stitch and it too many times when I think she should be more specific, because you're doing a decrease 5 stitches into 1. So if she lettered them like on your needle, if she said call the next stitches A, B, C, D, E, and E, and slip A, slip B, put C on a cable needle on the front, knit D, pass B over D, pass E over D, pass A over D, put C back on the cable needle, and pass it over D, and then put that one on the right hand needle because you swap back and forth. That would have been a lot easier, I think. And then had like a diagram. But I pretty much have it memorized now. And that was the only tricky thing, and you did that. Luckily you did that. I did knit this little setup 3 times before I got it up, but you do all of the stitches in the setup, so it's really nice that I was able to rip it out, and took me about an hour the first time, half an hour the second time, half an hour-ish, 20 minutes the third time, to knit this little smidgen of an area. And then you see the decrease there as your first one. So you kind of get everything, and there's increases all along here. So you get all of the kind of practice doing all of the stitches before you get way into the pattern, which is, I thought that was really nice and helpful. And I just had to go there are videos available. I like written directions, and especially either written directions or picture tutorials. Just, that's the way I learn better. I can understand it more. Sometimes I watch videos if I can't really see what they're doing in the picture tutorial, but generally I like to be able to kind of go at my own pace. And I learn better from written directions. Just the way I personally learn. So, super happy with it. I love it. Love, love, love. I love how organic it looks. I love the flowing. I just love how the rows flow into each other and look like leaves branching, and love the yarn. This is Cashmere. As I mentioned, this is my singles base, so it's really soft. It's great for shawls. Between these two, I never want to knit anything non-cashmere again. I'm actually sourcing a cashmere base for my shop because my husband wants a so faded cardigan. I think I'd mentioned I'm gonna knit him one fading from like an evergreen to a black, which I'm gonna dye up, and I want to find a nice cashmere base that I like, so I'll probably I might carry that in the shop as well, because I really like cashmere, especially for shawls, and probably even hats and cowls definitely, and I think it would work just fine for hats too. So, all the cashmere, all the yarn, I love it. So from that is my sizzle pop. Very happy with it. Great the pattern is very well written, aside from that one decrease that I think could be better written. Other than that, the pattern, so far has been great, very clear. I've never done brioche before, and I didn't really even have to look at any tutorials to figure it out. I just followed her directions. It took me 3 times to do that first stitch, but that was the one of the increases. You go into it, you knit the stitch, and then do a yarn over, and then knit the stitch again. And the one time, being me, I knitted the stitch, and I was like, oh, why do I have to pull my needle back through? I'll just wrap the yarn again, and then wrap it again, and that'll be the same thing, right? And then 2 rows later, I'm like, why is there a big hole in my knitting? I don't know what I did. And I had made another mistake, so I'm just gonna rip this all out. I don't know what happened. And then I was knitting, I was like, oh yeah, I basically just did a huge yarn over instead of 3 yarn overs. I did a triple size yarn over. That didn't work as well. I have to learn everything the hard way sometimes. But take a tea break. This is my yarn mug from Bread and Badger. Love their Etsy shop. They have great patterns. They're in Portland, Oregon, so if you live close by, you can actually pick up from her warehouse instead of paying shipping. But love they have tons of fantastic designs. It was actually really hard to narrow down a few to put on my Christmas list. Pick from, but. And I am drinking. I'm really happy with this tea that I'm drinking, so I'm going to tell you about it. It is Plum Deluxe tea, which I mentioned last time, and their Delightful Morning black tea. It is so good. It's so floral. It's got lavender in it, and orange peels, and blue cornflowers, which I'm not sure if that's just decorative, and bergamot. It's an Earl Grey blend. I think it would be really good iced too. I've only had it hot, but I've been making more iced tea, because not that you could tell it today, but it is warmer some days. And also from them, I had been using this little thing shaped like a spoon or like a clamshell to steep tea in, and it was good, but it kind of leaked leaves a little bit. So from Plum Deluxe's shop, I got this. Look how cute this is. And so this, that's probably, yeah, this is probably the top. So this sits on top of the mug, and then it has a mesh bowl that sits in there, and so you boil your water and put it in your mug, and then put this on top and put the mesh basket inside, and don't knock it off like me, and the tea steep, and then you can just lift it off and shake it off, and it's so cute. So I love this. This is one of my favorite things ever. Super cute. Love their tea. So my other work in progress that I'm working on is actually not knitting. It is crochet. I have been doing some crochet. Not a whole lot of crochet because it hurts my hands. Kind of a lot. So which might also be the material I'm using. I'm using cotton. It's just the sugar and cream. I got a whole I got 2 boxes full actually off of Craigslist from someone who was getting rid of a stash. So I have a whole bunch of like half balls in all different colors, but I am making a market bag. And so you won't be able to see just yet. This is the middle of the market bag, but this is the middle of a flower. So I actually stopped here because I have to figure out how to decrease in crochet. Like, I just have to look it up. My crochet is not super good, so I just look up every stitch as I go along. So I need to look up how to crochet because these are the flower petals, and then these kind of go out and narrow to tips, and then there's just like a chain netting around here. So this is the first side of the market bag, and then the flower, and I can put up a picture here so you have any idea what I'm talking about, because I'm probably not describing this very well. But so then you do like finish the flower and put the netting in it, and then have like some more netting all around, and then you do 2 of these for both sides and knit them together, and then knit the handles. Obviously crochet. So I really like the pattern. It's really cool. I've been wanting to make a market bag for a while, and I really like this flower pattern because most of the patterns you see are just kind of a net pattern, which is nice also, but I really like the flower on it. I'm not crazy about the color now. It's a very dark purple. I'm probably gonna, and I'm actually almost out of it. So I might do like a pink border, or like pink and then white, and then do the other side. It's gonna be a multicolor bag because I don't have that much of any particular color. But this is gonna be a test. So yeah, and I'm probably doing it at the wrong gauge. I only have 1 crochet hook, which is a G, and this is a worsted cotton, which calls for, I don't know if I'm using the right one or not. The fabric, I mean, for a market bag, I'm sure it's good, and it's like a nice sturdy fabric, but with the cotton is just hard to work with on my hand, so I can't work on it for too long at a time. I don't have that many crochet muscles built up. They're mostly, most of my knitting muscles they're pretty similar, but slightly different, I suppose. I don't know. So those are all my works in progress. I'm going to tell you about my future plans. So my future plans, I am one of those people that I have like 47,000 whips all around my house, distributed around my house. I would like to get some of those finished because I would like some of the finished objects. The socks, the socks for my sister, I would like to finish this week because she might come up this weekend, and if not, her birthday is next month, so I'll mail them to her. But I would like to finish them up pretty soon. And I would like to cast on a sew-faded cardigan for my daughter, that mini one, so she can have one that matches me before I run out of the Suddenly Lilacs yarn, which I am using in the Sizzle Pop. So I can't knit too much on that before I do the sew-faded cardigan. But I want to finish the socks first. I'm certainly going to have to pull another skein, either dye or pull out a top, another skein of Suddenly Lilacs to finish the Sizzle Pop, because I really like it when they do multicolor brioche, and like Kristen from Vine had done one of the Stephen West shawls, and she did it in like color blocks and switch colors just wherever she felt like it, and it looked really, really pretty, and I really like that look, but I don't think it would work very well with the Sizzle Pop because there's so much going on in the pattern. I don't think it needs that much variation in color, and I looked through I didn't see anyone else doing that, so I can't see what it would look like exactly, and it might work, but it might not, and it might take away from the pattern. I'm not sure. Unless I did like a border. There's not really a good place to switch colors either because of the way the pattern is kind of offset. You can't do it like at the end of the one flower before the next one, where it would kind of make sense to. So I would kind of like to keep that solid color, like keep those 2 colors probably. But I want to knit my daughter's. I want to knit the my daughter's sew faded in the same skein of yarn as I knit mine in, the same skein of Suddenly Lilacs, even if it doesn't, even if it's the same colorway. I've dyed multiple skeins of it, and the colors match really pretty well. So I think I'd be able to mix and match those fine, but it's just I would like to knit from the same skein. So my plan is to get back to this. I don't want to cast on anything else until I finish something. So I finished this, so I am 1 up in my whips. But I want to finish the socks, and then I'll cast on the sew faded, and then I have 1 extra project slot, which there's like 8 at least active projects in Ravelry right now, so it's a large number of slots. But I'm gonna try to finish some things before I cast on too many more new things. Is the idea. I have some acquisitions. I don't have any yarn. I have bought some yarn. I haven't received any of it because it was mostly pre-orders for some beautiful things, which I will show you when I get. But my mother had sent me money for my birthday, so I got a set of Chiaogus. Or however you pronounce it, I really have no idea, of their interchangeables. I love, love, love their needles. I use their sock needles. Once I started using their cables, okay, so I say I love their needles. I love their cables. Their needles are fine. Their needles are great. There are a lot of different needles that I like. The Deck Craft needles, the needles themselves were fine. It was the cables that drove me nuts, and I'm probably not going to use those again. I don't know if I'll... That set was kind of hard to get. Like, they only make so many of them, and it was really nice at the time, but I don't know if I'm going to use it anymore. Because I got a set of Chiaogus. I only got the size 2 through 8 because those are, I don't really use, when I use sock needles I use fixed, and then I don't really knit with larger sizes too much, so I can expand it later, but I love it. So these are what I'm using for the Sizzle Pop. I had started off with the Craft, and then I switched, no, I started off with Knit Picks, my Knit Pick set, and then I switched to Chiaogus. I guess they both have that, I don't know. I just wanted to use them because they're spiffy and new. And these cables are awesome, and the other cables are driving me nuts, so it's really nice to have these cables. So, thank you, Mom! I know you watch the podcast, so thank you for your present, which you didn't know you got me. The other thing I got, which I ordered a little while ago, and actually sent one of these, this is another thing I saw on Instagram and could not resist. So there's this shop, also in the UK, called Oh So Beautiful, and so like so. And she does these embroidery kits, and I got one for my mom and I got one for me, and this is the one that I got for me. And this kit has everything you need to make this little I don't know if this picture's coming. This set has everything you need to, oh my god, can I have a better picture in here? Has everything you need to make this little embroidery project. And this is probably a better picture. Yeah. So this kit has everything you need to make this. It has the hoop, and it has some cotton batting, which I guess you use for the backing. It has needles and thread in all the colors. And then this is the fabric for the backing, and then it has the pattern printed on it. And then also there's a little bit of fabric and thread so that you can practice. This is that you can put in the hoop and practice any of the more difficult stitches. It has these pages and pages of pattern. It has the main pattern and just all these how-tos about how to do things, and this, and how to do all the different stitches, and then a copy of the pattern so that you can put it on other things if you want. Very nice discount code, and some of her other kits. Aren't these so cool? She wrote, her Etsy's wonderful. She included this really nice note just to me. She's super nice. I had actually messaged her. So the one she got from my mom, I will put a picture of in here because it's so cute. The one I got for my mom from her. She had pre-orders up because her first run sold out so very quickly. And it's just these bees and flowers and really cute. Very cute little pattern, so I really, really liked it. And then I saw the lavender one, and I really, really wanted the lavender one, and she was out of stock of the kit. She only had the pattern in her shop, because you can also buy just the pattern as a PDF. So I messaged her, and I was like, can you just let me know when you get these back if you're planning to, because I would really like one. And she said, yeah, I'll let you know. And then, like, the next day, she was like, oh, I found another one. If you want it, just let me know it's up in the shop now. So I was like, yes, I do. So I went and bought it for myself. So they're super cute. I really like this. So I'm planning to do this in the summertime when it's too hot to knit. I'm going to embroider, because this is, you know, it should be much lighter and much easier to do on those hot nights, because we don't have air conditioning here. Most of the houses don't around the Seattle area, because historically it has not gotten that hot, but the earth is warming, so everything is warming. So my mother does sew. She does count cross stitch, and she did like crewel work, if that's how you pronounce it. I know a long time ago, and she quilts. She doesn't like hand sew, but since she does the cross stitch, thought she might like to embroider. And she's working on this right now. Her main project is this beautiful picture of the moon, of a full moon with these clouds around it on this black fabric. So I thought that if she had enough of the black and the white, then the bees and the flowers would be a colorful and smaller thing to do as kind of like a little project. So I got it for her. So she said she likes it. The last thing I got recently, I don't have the fabric for, but I've been talking about sewing for a while, and I know what I want to make to start off with, and it's probably not the easiest. It's probably not like what you would generally start off with someone who just wanted to do sewing, and I mostly want the product. So I kind of chose what I wanted to do and the fabric that I wanted to do it in, and I decided I need another hobby. So I got a pattern. This is for a V-neck t-shirt, and I'm probably gonna make this one to start off with, and then if that goes well, I would like a long sleeve version. But I got enough fabric to do the short sleeve version and have some for practice. And it's really, really cool by Girl Charlie. It's a jersey fabric, and it's this kind of a light gray, and it has dark blue cabins and little trees on it, and it's super cute. I love it. I loved all of her fabric. So I'm gonna try to make myself a V-neck t-shirt and see how well that goes. I don't have a sewing machine, but my neighbor does, and a friend of mine does, and my mom does. So I figured I would use someone's sewing machine and see if I liked sewing or if I hated it. Because I put a lining in a bag, and I made Harry Potter house purses years ago for me and my sister-in-law, and I lined those with fabric. I should show you those one day, actually. They're really cool. Mine, at least, I don't have hers, since she has it. But before that, the last sewing I did was in high school. So I kind of wanted to try it and see if I liked it, because I would really like to have hand sewn things, because there's so much cool fabric out there that I would really like to make some. And also, I'm 5'10", which is tall for a woman, and I can find shirts that fit me, and they fit pretty well. I would like pretty much all of my t-shirts to be about 2 or 3 inches longer. And I figured this way I can size them to myself. So, yeah, so I'm excited about that, and nervous, and kind of terrified because I have no idea how to sew. But I'm gonna see if I can figure it out. Alright, that's all I have for Inquisition, so I'm going to go now into Blather. I have a few things I would like to blather on about. 2 days ago was Father's Day, so my lovely husband and father of my children, we celebrated him. I had told you last week that I ordered from the BioWare store for him, and this is what I got him. This is a Mass Effect mug, which if you've ever played it, this is hilarious. This is the N7, which is kind of the rank of the character that you play, and then when you walk, so it's a kind of a role-playing game, so you walk around the ship and you can talk to people. If you have exhausted all of your conversational pathways, I guess, like all of your conversational options, he very awkwardly just says, "I should go." And he does it all the time, and since if you talk to characters over and over, you kind of run out of things to say to them unless something else happens, so he'll just go up to people and say hi, and they're like, "What's up?" And they're like, "I should go." And it's really funny. So I got him an "I should go" mug. And I also made him, we have an open foyer in our house, and it's like it's 1.5 or 2 stories, and and when you go into the living room, there's these 2 walls and an open space between them, and so we tend to hang banners there. I've actually put hooks on the wall because we rotate out banners seasonally. And so I had looked the day before Father's Day at like 11 o'clock at night. I was looking because I wanted to make him a banner, and I just hadn't gotten around to it. So I looked around for free banners that you could print out, and for Father's Day, and like 95% of them were some variation of ties, and then there were a couple that were like sports pennants. But then I found, oh, this is all tangled up, a superhero one. So I thought that was really cool. So I printed that out and hung it up. My goal is to take a picture of him holding both children in front of the banner. And so far, we have only been able to get 1 child at a time to cooperate with this plan. So if I can get that picture, I would like to put that up. Because I think it'd be really nice, but it depends on cooperation from the children. Wanna get me on the bucket? I love you, but I love you. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I actually went and saw a movie, which is kind of rare because we have 2 small children, so it's kind of hard for us to get out and away, but we went and saw Wonder Woman, and it was so fantastic. If you have not seen it, immediately go see it. I loved it. It is my favorite movie of all time now. It has displaced any other movie as my favorite movie. I really, really want to see it again. When my sister comes up this weekend, hopefully, if she comes up, we're going to go see them. We'll leave the guys with the kids, and we're going to go see it, and if not, I might take a half day on Friday and go see it again, because I really want to see it again while it's in theaters. I think it's definitely worth seeing in theaters. It was beautiful. It was fantastic. It feels like the directors and the writers have been listening to all of the criticism from the superhero movies that have been coming out lately with the male leads and the male directors, and they listened to all of the points that people made and they incorporated it. They have a strong female character who can work with others and who can have men around, and she can, I don't even know if she fell in love with him or if she just loved him for the moment. I don't know, it's but she can have relationships and they don't make her weaker, they make her stronger, and she can make mistakes and she can still be strong, and she can be herself and stand up for what she believes in, and it was just, it was so perfect. I loved it so much. Everyone should go see it. I don't know, it was my favorite movie ever now. I love the colors in it. I have plans for those colors. I know that I'm sure there's some yarn by now, but I would really like to do some of those. Just her beautiful, she has the red and blue in this so I'm tripping over myself. Because we liked Wonder Woman so much, we went back and watched Batman vs. Superman, which she appears in, which we hadn't watched before. Batman vs. Superman was terrible to begin with, I am certain. By comparison to Wonder Woman, it looks even worse. It's a terrible movie all around. There's a lot wrong with it. My husband was really annoyed by the portrayal of Batman as using guns and him fighting Superman, and just it didn't make any sense. And then half the movie was, I think, either visions or flashbacks or dreams, and they never really made it clear what was what. And then you're like, did that actually happen? Or why did that happen if that did? You can see the reflection of the character. And it looked even worse by comparison with Wonder Woman. And it also looked really, really dark. So in Batman vs. Superman, her costume is like dark gray or black, which matches everything else in the entire movie. Except Superman was kind of blue. But in her own movie, in Wonder Woman, her costume was blue and red, and they were kind of more like darker, like it wasn't the bright 70s blue and red, but it looked like dyed leather, like the colors that you would actually be able to dye leather. And I really, really liked those muted colors that were still strong colors. It was a bright and colorful movie. The plot actually made sense, like, to follow. It it was interesting. It kept you engaged because you couldn't figure out everything that was going to happen right away, I think. If you accept Greek gods in mythology, which they have right from the very start, as long as you're fine with that, like, and poison gas, which is, that was close enough to close enough to physically possible that I could accept it. Everything else, like, except Greek gods and magic and poison gas made by Nazis and, well, I guess proto-Nazis because this is World War One. Other than that, the physics generally made sense. The plot made sense. The motivations made sense. All of the characters made decisions that made sense. Chris Pine's character, I thought at first would be too campy. Like, that's one of the things I really don't like about superhero movies usually, is that they're so... I don't like the mix of serious character and, like, slapstick kind of comedy. They don't always mix well together. They actually did it really well. His character, I thought, was going to be too campy at first. Just in the first scene when you see him, he's, I don't know. I don't want to give anything away, but it's the first, like, 10 minutes of first... Actually, I guess half an hour maybe because he's in a little bit later. But it was perfect. She was able to be serious and be taken seriously, and then also joke around and, laugh, but not, like, they weren't making fun of her for being serious while at the same time making her be serious, which they do in some other movies to some characters, like Batman. It was really, really well done. I loved it. I hope that the next one, I think that they should keep this director around and fire all of the other directors that they've ever hired, honestly. It was really good. You should go see it. I think that's all that we've been watching. My husband has been watching The Handmaid's Tale. He told me not to watch it. He watched the first one and he said, don't watch this. You won't be able to watch it. So I have not been watching that one. I've heard it's really good, but just, it's too much. And then we've been catching up. For some reason, our Hulu didn't tell us that we had new episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine for the past, 3 months. So we're 3 months back behind in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but now we get to catch up and watch them all at once. So that's cool. So we're doing that. So we're catching up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine from 3 months ago. So Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe to my channel. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me and talking about knitting and looking at all of the fun stuff that I've been doing, because I've been having a lot of fun with it. I'm really excited to have all of these different projects. I really enjoy knitting, and it's kind of fun to be branching out into I guess every single other just about needlework or fiber-based project. It feels like all at once, but I'm really having fun with it, so I really appreciate you staying around and hanging out with me and spending some of your day with me, and I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions ever, just let me know. I do custom orders. I actually did one not that long ago. I don't have any shop updates to show you. I'm hoping to have a shop update this week or next week, and I'll post about that if I do, probably on Instagram, or you can check my Etsy shop, dyerbearyarns.etsy.com, at any time. But yeah, thank you for spending time with me. Make beautiful things and have a great day. I forgot I tied it around my neck. I'm struggling. I'm joking myself.